Hey everyone, welcome to Pipes, Tobacco, and Whiskey. So today we are trying the new release for Pease, Ellipsis Flake, and this is in their Zeitgeist Collection. This is the fourth release of the Zeitgeist line. A little bit of a description on this one. It says, this delightful blend affords medium body, subtle aroma, and complex flavors, and is naturally rich with sweetness, spice, and a bit of nuttiness. Ellipsis Flake is pressed, allowing the mixture's flavors to be amplified, and it's fit to satisfy Virginia lovers and Oriental enthusiasts alike. The name is inspired by musical tritones, intervals spanning three adjacent whole tones, and surrealism. The Virginias, Orientals, and Perique of this blend join together to create these tritones of flavor, with the white burley adding strength and the Cavendish providing luxurious mouthfeel and body to the overall mixture. So this is, of course, manufactured by Cornell and Deal. Its components are Canadian Bright Virginia, Red Virginia, Izmir, St. James Perique, unsweetened black Cavendish. It comes in a flake, and I have to say that the flakes are really nice. They really are nice.
Very nice. Breaks apart very well.
According to GLPs, the strength on this is 3 out of 5. Room note is 3 out of 5. Taste is 3 out of 5. So let's kind of go into this. I've smoked this a couple of times. This is your first smoking of it.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of get a collaboration of thoughts here.
Yeah.
As to what we think about this blend. All right. So
start with 10 note.
Yeah, 10 note. What do you think about 10 note?
Yeah. 10 notes pretty spot on. I mean, it's really soft. Those Virginias come through very nicely. I do like their Red Virginia because that's proprietary to them, isn't it?
Yes.
I do like that Red Virginia. It does stand strong in that blend. The Izmir is coming through a little bit with that nuttiness that not the Izmir, but I feel that nutty. I smell it coming through
from the Burleys.
Burleys, that's what it is. Sorry, the reason the Izmir is on my mind is we'll get to that when it gets to taste, because that's one thing that's coming through on taste for me. But those Burleys, I smell the nuttiness. There's not a lot of pepper or sourness or anything that I'm coming through that I'm used to smelling with that sourness, that fermentedness that you get with that St. James Perique smell. I'm not getting a lot of that. A lot of Virginia's coming through, some of that nuttiness. Very nice. It is I like where they say it will cater to a Virginia lover and an Oriental lover on both sides, because it really does. It has a very nice smell.
So I am getting right at the very beginning, there's a nice sweetness in there somewhere. I don't know if the Virginias might be cased or not, but I do definitely get a sweetness in there. I get a little bit of a dark fruit hint in there. Lots of grassy hay.
Yeah.
In the 10 note, and just a little bit of that Perique kind of smell that we've kind of come to know. So the 10 note on this is really pleasing.
Mm-hmm.
I like that the sweetness kind of comes out first, and then all those other things, those components. A little bit of sourness.
See, I'm not getting as much as I thought I would, though.
Yeah.
Maybe they're using a smaller amount of Perique in there,
Well, and I would think that the Izmir would give it some sourness as well.
Yeah.
So, not a whole lot of that kind of shining through in the 10 note.
The 10 note.
Yeah.
The taste is something a little different.
Well, let's go to the taste. Let's talk about it a little bit. What are you getting on this?
So it was perfect for them to put the unsweetened Cavendish in there. They're absolutely right. It smooths out the mouthfeel of the blend, because sometimes those Orientals get too peppery for me. They get too hot, especially when I'm trying to enjoy a good Virginia-based blend, and which is what this is. I think is mostly Virginias, and then all the other additives to just amp up the flavor. That Cavendish does an amazing job of smoothing out the blend. I get the sweetness of those Virginias coming through. That that grassy, uh, it's sour, bitter kind of taste that comes through from the red Virginias that hits the right spot on the taste buds that I really, really enjoy.
Immediately when I light up, immediately I get a lot of earthy, almost like a dirt earthiness flavor coming through. The sweetness is not there yet in the smoke on the initial light up. I get quite a bit of sourness. I get the grassiness, the hay that comes through, but I'm not getting any of the sweetness that I get from the tin note yet. It's all very earthy, natural tobacco.
Well, see, I'm already about halfway into that, and I'm getting some of that bready sweetness coming in. That's really starting to mix and hit my palate. From what I smelt from the red Virginias and the tin note, it's starting to come through there. The Izmir stays strong through the blend, and not strong, overpowering. I can feel that pepper bite. I can feel it right into the back on the draw in every time.
See this,
but it's nice. It's a crisp, like a crushed black pepper.
This kind of goes against my palate. I'm of more of the slight sweetness, the dark fruit, the very relaxed flavors, you know, and already that strong earthiness is really starting to play against my tongue. And so when I've smoked this before, I noticed that in the middle of the smoke, it does change just a little bit. And so I'm waiting to get there. And then when I do, I'll talk about the flavors there. But as far as at the beginning of the smoke, it's kind of rough.
Yeah,
to me,
it's up and down. I am enjoying those flavors with that raw Virginian flavor, that earthiness, and then it gets to the bready sweetness, and that Cavendish is mellowing it out completely. And then there's that slight pepper. I just can't. That's what I'm getting, and it's really playing well on my taste buds, making them feel like it's being popped.
Yeah. So my experiences in past smokes with this is that right about in the middle of the bowl, for me, it starts to get those Virginia, those bright Virginias start to sweeten up a little bit and come out. Also, that slight dark fruit hint also begins to come out, and that earthiness begins to subside, as well as the spiciness. You're right. There is a black pepper kind of spiciness.
Like a crushed black pepper.
Yeah, that's in here. So it's taken me, you know, at first I'm a little against it, and then as it progresses, I begin to kind of get into that smoke just a little bit. And I'm wondering if you know, a sip of whiskey of some sort,
that's like a peaty kind of smoky
might
flavor.
help it at the beginning of it, and then leave it get off the whiskey, and then let the tobacco kind of speak after that.
Just kind of curb your taste buds a little bit to add that smokiness to it. You want something, I can see where that peating.
And I've tried this in several different size bowls, and I seem to like it best in a smaller bowl than in the big pots or whatever, you know.
Don't give it room to breathe. Let it all concentrate into something.
Yeah, and that it seems to smoke a little bit better. I've got a pretty small group 3 smallness, maybe even a group 2 on this one. It's not a big bowl. All right, well then, what do you think about the room note on this?
This is it's your pretty standard room note. It's tobacco.
Yeah.
Tolerable is what I would put it at. You know, it's not inviting people in. There's not a lot of this nice sweetness, fruitiness that you get out of the tin note isn't translating through into the room note.
Yeah.
It's mostly a tobacco room note.
To me, the burley stands out in the room note.
Yeah, that definitely be it.
That really kind of is pronounced, a smokiness, a kind of a burly smokiness, you know, almost similar. I hate to say this, but almost similar to a cigarette, but not as pungent.
Yeah,
as a cigarette.
Yeah, funky.
Yeah.
I would agree with you there. It's a smoker's room note, not the smoker's delight or anything like that, but just it's a smoke room note.
I have to say that the moisture content on this is perfect.
This thing came perfect.
Yeah,
it was ready to go. There's no fiddle with it aside from breaking apart the flake,
which
if
is
you want
easy.
to.
Which is easy.
Yeah,
It doesn't. It's not a very difficult flake to break apart. It really rubs out well. So the hydration on this is absolutely perfect. It's really good. Slightly moist, typical of flakes, but maybe 10 minutes sitting out,
if that.
yeah, would make it just perfect. What are you thinking about the nicotine content on this?
This is a more full-bodied smoke to me. I would put this almost at above moderate, but not quite medium bodied yet. It's a little more full than some of your lighter Virginia smokes that I'm used to.
Yeah.
I think it's the burley that really does it.
Yeah, maybe I'm going to say moderate to medium, somewhere in there. It's not really a strong one. You could smoke this all day long and not really worry about it, especially for experienced smokers. I'm getting into the middle of the smoke now, and I'm starting to pick up on some sugary sweetness that's coming through, and that's really nice. I like that about this blend. But at the beginning, it's just so powerfully earthy.
And the sweetness is more of, to me, like a molasses sweetness, where it's very dark, kind of like a very an earthy flavored sweetness. It's not like pancake syrup or white sugar, or brown sugar, or anything like that. It seems more like a darker sweetness.
Yeah, I don't know. It's difficult to tell because it comes in and out, in and out. It's not consistent all the way through. So, you get a hint of it. It's like smoking one puff and you're like, that earthiness. And then you take another puff a couple of, 10, 15, 20 seconds later. And then you get a little kind of a sugary. Yeah. So
I tell you, instead of a whiskey, maybe this one would go well with a nice rum.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that.
Yeah, like a spiced rum kind of flavor. I think that would be really nice.
But something about those bright Virginias that I'm not a fan of. I'm not a real fan of
those Canadian.
Yeah, it kind of gives it a kind of a hot feeling, and I smoke fast.
Yeah,
so
I can see with that. That's why I chose a Cobb, just because it's my first smoke. I wanted to taste the smoke as it is, and I could burn through it no problem without worrying about hurting anything.
Yeah, it's got a good place. This is not my favorite Zeitgeist. We've done other Zeitgeists that I like better. The Horizons, was absolutely
Windjammer one of their Zeitgeist?
No. We did Bankside,
yes,
and then Geometry.
Yeah,
and then Horizons, and then this one, Ellipsis. And my favorite was Horizons. That, so far out of the Zeitgeist, that was my favorite. The probably second would be Bankside.
Yeah,
and then this one. The Geometry I thought was okay, but
it's nice.
Yeah, thrilling, but nice.
I'm enjoying this one. This one hits a good balance between an Oriental and a Virginia. I like that black pepper flavor with the earthiness, and then every now and then getting that sweet flavor. And it may all I can sit there and think about is like, man, I wish I had. Well, I kind of go partial to rum with all GLP blends, but it makes me sit here going, gosh, this is a good summer porch smoke to me.
It very well may be the Izmir that's kind of giving me that sour bitterness.
Could be.
And that a little bit of that earthiness.
Yeah.
Because the earthiness with some of those Virginias and the St. James Perique and the Burley that's in there, that's a lot of earth.
That's a lot of heft.
Yeah.
Those Virginias are definitely carrying a lot of weight for the blend to try to push it through with all those flavors. I think that Cavendish was perfect to smooth it out, though. Because imagine what this blend would be like without it.
Yeah, it just depends on how much is actually in there.
Yeah.
If you like the tastes of natural tobaccos, this is definitely because there's nothing in here that's taking away from the tobacco flavors.
No.
And I even think that the sweetness that I'm getting is from those Virginias.
Yeah.
It's this natural sweetness that comes from those leaves.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you because I don't think there might be a topping on the red Virginias or a casing like you were saying, but nothing else has been topped. There's no other flavors that have been added to this.
I wonder what this would be like in a couple of years, though. I tend to put GL Peace blends away.
Some of them do really
and just
well.
wait.
Navigator is one of my favorite ones to give a good 4-year sit. I have like 3 tins of Navigators that are one's 5, one's 10, one's 12 years old that I've been buying at the things.
Yeah.
And Navigator is one of those ones that just, God, it gets out of this world when you give it a little age.
Yeah. So there you have it, guys. That's our thoughts on the new Zeitgeist release from GL Peace, the Ellipsis Flake. The artwork on this tin is very interesting.
Esoteric.
Yeah. It's I mean, it makes you think of one thing, and then you start looking at the tin and going, wait a minute. There's something else going on with this. All right, guys. Well, that's what we got for you this week. We hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it helps you kind of pick out some flavors as you're smoking it and trying it.
Especially with all these new releases coming out by C&D. So, I mean, not just C&D, but they're definitely starting to crank up some stuff.
Kind of filling the
hole.
Yeah.
Which I'm very excited about, especially with the 2 new ones that come out. I've liked them so far. At least the 2 that we've really done.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, guys. Well, we hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget,
make all your piping moments count.
We'll see you next time. Have a great week.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.